So, my friends, welcome to a new crypto update video. Bitcoin at 117,500 US dollars. We've, let's say, recovered a bit from all our pumps in the last few days. We dropped from 123,000 US dollars, and overnight we dipped by about 5.7% at the peak. By now, we're only down by just about 5%. But everything is still within the normal range. The sell-off didn't close below these recent lows. In the end, it was simply a liquidity swap from these lows here. Everything is still within the normal range for now. Still, today is going to be a very, very exciting day. It's Tuesday and we're dealing with CPI data. We might be facing a lot of long liquidations, which could happen if the numbers turn out to be bad. We'll definitely go into more detail about that in just a moment. Today, we could either see the starting signal for another rally, or this might be it for now. You'll find out everything in today's update video. Of course, we'll also take a look at the altcoins. We'll check out the stock markets, and there's also been a slight change in the volatility index. But before we get started, feel free to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and of course, check out the free Telegram talk and signal group. If you're interested in updates, news, and signals, feel free to join. You'll find the link for that for free down in the video description. And if you're still looking for an exchange where you can trade all of this, including altcoins and some stocks, you can do it all on my partner exchange, Binjix. The link for that is also down in the video description. By doing so, you support the channel, or rather, you support me. So, Bitcoin is at 117,500 US dollars. Doesn't look too bad at all. After we talked yesterday about how this is kind of my provisional top for now, we went up to about 123,300 US dollars at most, and over the course of the day, it went slightly down. But that, in turn, was a small advantage for all the altcoins, because the altcoins gained a bit. Although, it has to be said, in the second half of the day after the US markets opened, when Bitcoin dropped a bit again, the altcoins also followed suit a bit more, but to the downside. So you can see, this still isn't really a proper altcoin season. We have Bitcoin, which is dropping slightly, and the altcoins are just falling twice as much again. That's a bit of an exaggeration, but we're still not quite in an altcoin season. It's simply still too early to talk about it, even if the altcoins are pumping a bit. But even Bitcoin dominance, at 64%, has only dropped about 2% from its peak. So we're definitely still miles away from an altcoin season. Let's take a look at the daily close. It was somewhat positive, even though this isn't really bullish, I have to say at this point. The weekly close, of course, was extremely bullish. Yesterday, if the day had closed a bit higher, it really would have been better. But it's okay like this. Yeah, at least we still closed above last day's wick. That's a somewhat positive sign. So it's not too late yet. What's more important in the end is how today closes. We're still holding above the EMAs here. That's a good sign, and a pullback wouldn't really be surprising right now. By the way, we'll take another calm look at everything tonight at 7 o'clock. We're starting today with a live stream at 7 o'clock, covering Bitcoin, altcoins, and so on. So if you're up for it, make sure to join us live on YouTube tonight at 7. But to get back to what's important now, as long as we're just consolidating here, everything's fine. A pullback wouldn't really be dramatic either. We've talked about that over the past few days. 109,000, 110,000 US dollars wouldn't really be a bad thing. Why? We have funding rates that have now risen slightly. So now we're in the positive everywhere here. We haven't seen that in ages. We really have to go way back for that. Not even throughout all of June did we have anything like this. By now, we're in the green, or actually, not in the green anymore, but partly in the red zone. That means the longs are dominating. You can also see up here that open interest has risen significantly, and the funding rates have gone up a lot. So, basically, a classic shift has taken place. If we then look at the heat map, there's really not much left to the upside. On the 3-day chart, there's still quite a bit below us. On the weekly, if we take a quick look, there's also clearly more to the downside. And that's the difference compared to yesterday. You might remember, yesterday when I showed you the heat map, it was almost empty. Over the weekend, the thing was completely cleared out. Now, there's a lot of liquidation and a lot of liquidity sitting to the downside. These are all the longs that are now, of course, trying to jump in late and push the price up. That doesn't mean it can't happen, that we could go up again here, but the risk of long liquidations all the way down is definitely present now, and that's something you really need to watch out for. It would also line up very well with a golden pocket or a 0.5 retracement. So I'll definitely be keeping an eye on this area down here, partly for possible long positions, and maybe for a small spot buy, just as a little something on the side, but really only minimally. But it's more likely to be a small long trade between 111,000 and down to about 116,000 US dollars. That's the zone I'm currently watching. But what's interesting today? And now let's take a look at the news, because the CPI data is coming out, and that's, well, I have to say at this point, yeah, very, very interesting, because the tariffs should now be included in it. According to polls, Trump's tariffs should make an impact here. That means today could be a very decisive day. Polls have said that it could be that the CPI data will rise. Here we see the CPI data, the core rate rising from 2.8 to 3%, consumer prices compared to last month at 0.3, and the CPI itself going from 2.4 to 2.6. If we see exorbitantly high prices here, meaning instead of the forecast or last month's 2.4%, it jumps to 3%, I'm expecting, overall, a big, massive crash at first. So that means, with a small, liquidity drop of maybe 4 or 5% across the market, because the market is initially shocked. Damn, we have 3% interest rates, or rather 3% inflation or higher. That wouldn't be good at all. If these numbers turn out lower, I think someone might soon be out of a job. Why? Because Powell is the one who keeps saying he sees no reason for rate cuts. If the numbers are lower, and Powell has said we need to wait for the tariffs, for the reasons, to see if anything plays out, then this could mean, if the numbers are lower, that Powell could soon lose his job and we'd still get our Fed pivot. We'll see all of that today. So today could get really, really exciting starting at 2:30 p.m. Before that, it'll probably just be a bit of back and forth, but from 2:30 on, things could really start to pop. On the one hand, because of long liquidation, which would play out down here. If the CPI data comes in higher, then definitely this target, etc., etc. So this day is going to be extremely exciting. On the 4-hour chart, not much has really happened, like I said. For me, these levels down below are simply the most important. If we get down there, then that's definitely a clear long signal. Let's move over to the altcoins. What's been happening there? Ethereum is still holding up strong. We already talked yesterday about the bearish divergence up here. That played out pretty well at first. Golden pocket, bearish divergence, first a slight move down. Not a huge sell-off, but a smaller one. If we look at it here, it went down about 2.5%. That's really not dramatic. So everything is still within the normal range here as well. The targets haven't changed either. If we get, let's say, not liquidity but volatility coming in today, Ethereum will probably drop quite sharply at first as well. First level is 2,700, second level is then around 2,635. Interestingly, from a daily perspective, you can see here as well, the wick was at 3,090. We've pretty much filled the inefficiency here exactly. So Ethereum has now checked off the golden pocket, the inefficiency, and also a bearish divergence for now. Not really good. Plus, we also have a small divergence here in the RSI as well. So, all in all, not really good. Plus, the volume is also bad. Secure your positions. Don't try to force your way into any positions right now. Secure your positions and take profits. That's the most important thing. I already did a poll about this yesterday. Many have already sold, some are just now starting to buy, you know. So please, in phases like this, make sure to take some profits. Solana. Solana is actually still holding up relatively stable. We haven't broken through our resistance. We talked about this yesterday. Right now, we're here on the daily time frame. 200 SMA on the daily. Didn't work. Yesterday, liquidity was swapped above it, but it closed below. So, still no bullish breakout for Solana. That really bothers me and still gives me a bit of a headache, because that wick yesterday just swapped out the liquidity from these days here and here. We're still not in an altcoin season. There just aren't any signs of that at the moment. We'll take another calm look at all the altcoins tonight, but right now we're not in that phase where you can say, wow, a massive altcoin season is coming. There's just nothing pointing to that right now, not even the overall sentiment. But hey, let's see what happens. Let's move on to the traditional markets. What's gold doing? Gold is still stable, or rather, it's holding up pretty well within our range. The 200-day SMA has held for now. Let's see what today brings here as well. Here too, the CPI data could have a significant impact at first. For now, I'm staying on the sidelines here. Then, also important for today, the euro against the US dollar. I've set the position to stop loss entry. Why? I'm expecting that. If we get strong CPI data, meaning really high CPI numbers, I'd say over 2.6%, that could send the dollar shooting straight up. So, in that case, I assume our trade will be absolutely spot on, and the euro will just go to the moon, but downward. If the CPI data turns out to be absolutely terrible for my trade, or rather, for our trade, and the CPI numbers stay the same or go down, I expect the euro to keep rising for now. That's why I've hedged the position before the CPI data comes out, so we're covered for the time being. That's all on that. Stock markets, not much is really happening. Not much going on in the DAX either. Nasdaq is still in a sideways phase. I don't like it at all, especially with the volume continuing to drop. No bullish price action up here at the all-time high. US Tech 100. Okay, here it overshot a bit again. Great. Dow Jones, more of a bull flag, but again, no new high at the moment. I don't like it. I'm still missing that one last high here. I'd really like to see that, just so I could maybe assume that that was it for now. And last but not least, S&P 500, new all-time high, but it's not a huge pump either. So as you can see, the only real price action right now is with Bitcoin and the altcoins. Like I said, we'll take a closer look at those tonight during the live stream, and otherwise, make sure to pay attention to what's happening today at 2:30 p.m. Secure your positions, lock in your profits. If the inflation numbers come in lower, well, congratulations. Bitcoin will probably go to the moon then. Powell will lose his job and we'll have our Fed pivot. I've already mentioned this before. What's currently on my mind? Where did I put it? D-D-D-da. Just keep that in the back of your mind. My current line of thinking, the Fed cuts interest rates in July, which would fit with the CPI data if they come out today. Pivot comes, 19 days of bull run, so this is already a few days old, until the end of July, then bull run, then that's it. That's my plan. July 30th is the Fed rate decision, August 1st, the official tariffs for the EU and other countries. Plus, Trump's big beautiful bill still isn't 100% through yet. So, there are still a few things coming up. Don't let this unsettle you. These are just my thoughts that I jot down from time to time. Let's just wait and see. So, tonight at 7 o'clock, there's a live stream. Thanks already for watching. We'll catch up again tonight. Until then, ciao ciao, and as always, stay crypt.